Cape Cod is not only a premier vacation destination, but for many of us, it's our home. Within its miles of shoreline, there is a diversity of spirits, talents, and interests. Cape Cod Arts and Beyond is a look at you and I who live here and are inspired to create. From the bridges over the Cape Cod Canal to the sand dunes of Provincetown and everywhere in between, we look to profile, highlight some of this artistic spirit. On occasion, we may venture off the Cape as well. Our goal is to educate, inspire, engage, and entertain. Enjoy Cape Cod Arts and Beyond with John Murrell. So hello and welcome to Cape Cod Arts with John Murrell. This is our look at the Cape and its environment, its creative people. Sometimes it's artists, sometimes it's musicians. Today we have one of our favorite topics, food and food magazines. My guest is Karen Covey, founder and publisher of The Coastal Table, an anthology of seaside living. Karen Covey has spent most of her professional career working in design and publishing. She currently works as a recipe developer, personal chef, and teaching instructor. She is the author of The Coastal Table, recipes inspired by the farmlands and seasides of southern New England. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Karen, where do you live?
I actually live in Mattapoisett.
Mattapoisett.
Yes.
Not far from here.
No, just over the bridge.
So, the Coastal Table magazine began in 2013 as the Coastal Table Cookbook, right?
Yes, the cookbook came before the magazine.
Right.
Yes.
And the cookbook is recipes inspired by farmlands and seasides of New England. Why did you want to write a cookbook? Aren't there enough out there?
That's a good question. There are a lot of cookbooks out there, for sure. When I moved to the south coast of Massachusetts, I quickly became inundated with the amazing food culture that was there, and the farmers and the cheesemakers and the winemakers, and I kept discovering all these amazing people. And at the same time, I was sort of doing some food writing and some more cooking myself. Mm-hmm. So the worlds kind of collided, I guess you would say, and I had this idea to write a cookbook about the region. And once I discovered there really wasn't one about it, it really set me on my path.
That's good. Yeah, a lot of times it's finding the right idea.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get your idea to a publisher and on the shelves at Barnes & Nobles? How does that happen?
I guess I got kind of lucky. Everything sort of happened at the right time, at the right place at the right time. I had the idea to write the cookbook once I realized that none had really been written about this particular region of the south coast of Massachusetts. And was at a cookbook conference and met a marketing person for a publishing company who was looking for a New England-based cookbook. And it was literally being at the right place at the right time.
Excellent,
yeah.
Excellent. And did you develop all these recipes, or how does that work?
I did. I created, there's over 120 recipes in the book itself. Most of them are mine, inspired by ingredients from the region. Mm-hmm. But many of them, some of them, there's about 12 recipes that were contributed by chefs all over New England, mm-hmm. who really use the farm-to-table model, who use local ingredients from this particular region in their cooking. So we just thought it would be a nice twist to bring in some very approachable chef recipes into the book, highlighting the region as well.
Makes sense.
So,
good.
Yeah.
So you brought this cookbook out and you decided, no, I'm not done. And that sort of morphed into the quarterly magazine, yes?
Yeah, it did. I wasn't really sure what was next after the cookbook, if there was some sort of sequel or some more cookbook-related thing to tell. Mm-hmm. And one of the comments I got the most when I was doing book signings and speaking engagements about the book was, we love the fact that the cookbook has more than just great recipes in it, that we love learning about the region and the stories behind the people that we decided to profile in the region. We tried to give a nice mix of, cheesemakers and winemakers and farmers and restaurants and places to visit, So it was more about having people be inspired by the region and to come to visit the region, as well as make the recipes that we chose to create from the ingredients. So we just decided to take the concept and go international with it and really look for the most interesting people that we could find, makers, artisans, food producers, and tell their stories in the pages of the magazine.
So, to be clear, this is no longer just the beautiful New England area.
No, it goes all over the world.
All over the world. What are
Yes.
some places that you have highlighted?
Oh my gosh, we've highlighted the
Costa Rica,
yep. We've highlighted Portugal, the beautiful little wine country town of Healdsburg, California. There's a great little oyster maker in Alabama that we just profiled. So
Really?
we really just try to look for the really interesting stories, the family-run businesses, the handcrafted, makers doing things from scratch, rolling up their sleeves every day and doing something that they're really, really passionate about, because that's exactly what we're doing as well.
Well, your magazine's clearly passionate. Do you think this, if we call it a movement, do you think it's growing or is it subsiding or?
I think it's growing. I think, shop small, shop local, all of those sort of buzzwords that started are really actually starting to, be things that people pay attention to and really, try to adhere to as best they can. Supporting your local farmers and restaurants and markets and all of those things I think are really, really important, because those are the people who, whose bottom line is directly affected by how you purchase and how you shop.
So I buy, some beautifully freshly made canned tomato sauce from you. You're the farmer and you've canned it.
Yes.
So I give you the money and you put it in your pocket to make more of it.
Yes.
So I don't have to go to Stop and Shop and buy Heinz.
Right.
That's
I mean, you can. There's nothing wrong with that, but when people put so much time and care and love into what they're doing and caring about the tomatoes that they pick for their sauce, you sort of have to appreciate that and support it if you can and if that's your thing.
And do you really taste a difference?
I think in some things, yes. Almost always you do.
Yeah.
When I first moved to the south coast of Massachusetts, one of the very first cheeses that I ever discovered was Shy Brothers Farm cheese, which is still one of my absolute favorites.
They're in
Westport.
Yes.
Yep. They make Hannibals, which are beautiful little thimbled cheeses that melt beautifully in and on anything. And they make delicious clamage, which is very similar to a ricotta. But in my mind, you can completely taste the flavor of that cheese, and you can tell it was made by scratch, you can tell it was made with love, and you can tell that it has ingredients in it. You can taste ingredients, where some cheese you just taste bland, it has no flavor.
Yeah.
So I love it.
It's something nice also that it didn't travel 3,000 miles from France to get here.
And
right?
I know the people, and I know how hard they work to make them and how hard it is to make them and how much time it takes. So I'm always happy to support that. And I hope other people do too.
I hope so too, yeah. And that's kind of what your magazine's about,
Because
right?
isn't eating really great food like the best thing in the world? Like, there's no better treat in my mind to eat something really, really delicious.
I know. Are you a chef? Are you trained?
I'm not a trained chef. My parents bought a restaurant when I was 6.
Yeah.
So I think I've been around food, whether I chose to or not, my whole life. And I circled away from food and restaurants for a long time, but have now made my way back and cook more now than I've ever cooked in my entire life.
Okay. All right, good. Your magazine sort of just reminds me that I love the Cape. I really do. I love 6A. I love to swim at Sandy Neck in the mornings at the end of the days. And the beaches are beautiful. We sometimes forget how unbelievably beautiful it is here. And I know the South Coast as well, but I know the Cape. Do you have any favorite beaches that I should check out, or coastlines that you just think are magnificent?
I think each beach really does have its own unique vista and personality. A long time ago, my friends introduced me to Truro and to Wellfleet and that part of the Cape, which I truly love more than anything. It's so special out there. It's a little quieter. It's a little bit less congested, and the beaches are very vast and very walkable for miles. And I really have a very special place in my heart for that part of the Cape now.
Or do you go into the water? Are you a swimmer?
Sorta. Not really. Once in a while.
Okay, so
When the water's really, really warm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So suppose you weren't married and I wasn't married, and I said, let's go on a date. And I said, why don't you take me to one of your beaches and will you do a picnic? What would be in your picnic?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to stay till sunset. And I do drink wine.
Well, that's good, because I do too. There would most definitely be wine in there.
Yeah.
Some sort of local cheese, whether it's Shy Brothers or some other amazing cheesemaker from New England, because there's a million of them.
Good.
Crackers, maybe some sort of homemade terrine of some sort. Cured meats, some homemade jams or jellies, maybe a little sandwich that I made with some homemade pesto or something like that. Just very simple.
I can taste it. Thank you.
That
sounds good.
That's how I eat, just very simple,
Yeah, so
very straightforward.
Maybe, we should think about getting divorced.
Okay. Sorry, John.
Okay, so some people know that, I'm weight conscious. I used to be on Weight Watchers. I used to teach it. And we're very, very sensitive about the quantity of food in terms of fat and sugar and carbohydrates. One of the reasons I love your magazine, your cookbook, is that you pretend like Weight Watchers and low fat doesn't exist. Does anybody ever have an issue with that? Because isn't like low fat like hip? Isn't that how you sell a book?
I don't think so. Well, it's not hip to me. I don't do low fat. We were talking earlier, I'd much rather not eat something for a long period of time and eat something really good that I want once and enjoy it, full fat, whatever it is. I mean, I try not to eat fattening foods or anything like that on a regular basis, but I also don't believe in deprivation either. So don't eat dessert for 6 days, but then on the 7th day, if you want dessert, make it something that you really, really want and enjoy it and indulge in it and then move on, So everything in moderation, really.
And do you find people do that? Because some people do, but you find more people are interested in less of something fabulous than, a mountain of something that's okay?
That's a hard question, because if you look around the country and you see, restaurant chains and restaurants and supersizing of things, I don't know that, the majority of people feel that way. I tend to buy fresh. I try to buy seasonal. I try to cook at home, which I think makes a huge, huge difference, because you can completely control what you put in it and how much of it you put in. And I always like to give people the option. You can put a little drizzle of cream in the end of a beautiful butternut squash soup, but you also don't have to either. It's just as good without it. So if you feel like you need that extra little bit, 1 to 2 tablespoons of something, go for it, but you absolutely don't necessary. It's not necessary. So I like to give people the option, and
boy, it's fun looking at your food.
Thank you.
And the reason I say it is because your magazine and your cookbook, but your magazine is so what I call visually driven. Is that the word?
Yes.
The photographs just explode and pop, and you can smell the chocolate souffle, and you can see the drips on the different drinks you make. That was a conscious choice, doing amazing photographs, right?
It was, most definitely, yes.
And are you an art director or?
I was a creative director for much of my professional career in various parts. So it's definitely something that's at the core of my my being that I love to do. But I work with an amazing team of contributors and team members who just make my job so easy. I mean, some of this stuff just comes to us this way because people just are really good at their craft. So we're really, really lucky.
Does a photo shoot take a long time? Or?
It depends on what it is. Food can be temperamental. Sometimes it can just work really nicely with you and cooperate, but it really just depends on what you're shooting.
The photographs are stupendous.
Thank you.
I love them. And hopefully you'll get me a few and we can show everybody.
Yes, most definitely.
Good. I noticed when I look at your cookbook magazine, would you call it a cookbook magazine?
We just call it a magazine or a journal.
Okay.
I mean,
when I look at it, I'm not blown away by countless ads and advertising. From what I gather, I could be wrong, almost the first 3/4 of it is almost ad-free. And then there's a few sort of delicate ads in the back. How do you make that work?
You know, it's a pretty deliberate decision on who we work with because we want to work with partners and, you know, companies and people that we love and trust that we use all the time. So, you know, as we grow, those will increase, but the intent has been pretty deliberate so far because we're so visually driven.
Okay.
And the partners that we pick are, you know, pretty selected, but they're amazing. You know, there's Osterville Vodka, which is a local Cape Cod company, which makes amazing gluten-free vodka. It's super, super clean, super fresh.
You have Narragansett Creamery, right?
We have Narragansett Creamery as well. They're in Rhode Island. So, you know, we definitely work with some local and some more national
And the ads
companies.
are pretty too.
Yes, they are.
You know?
Well, we're lucky in that respect that companies produce really nice ads.
So you are the producer and the founder
Yes.
of Coastal Table.
Yes.
So how many people are on your team-ish?
So we have about a dozen regular, well, maybe more than that, probably close to 24 regular contributors. And then we work with a variety of different people all over the world who contribute on a regular basis, semi-regular basis. You know.
Oh, okay. Freelance-ish.
Yes. Yep.
I can get your magazine like in the old-fashioned way, as a magazine.
Yes.
But I also can get it online, is that right?
You can. We actually have digital and print subscriptions, depending on how you like to read your magazines.
I don't know the difference. What's the difference?
So digital just means you read everything on your tablet or on, you know, your computer.
Yeah.
And a print subscription means you actually get one delivered to your mailbox.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's what I thought. Okay. I would never want to look on my computer to look at your magazine. Is that a trend? Am I old-fashioned?
I think it really just depends on how you prefer to read your media. I mean, I'm someone who doesn't like to read much online either. Maybe because I work behind a computer all day, that I like the tangibility of having a cookbook or a magazine in my hand. I hope people choose to buy a print subscription or, you know, get a print magazine because we've been so deliberate in picking really beautiful paper, and our photographs are so beautiful that the intent of the magazine was always that they would be collectible, so that they would have a nice little place in your kitchen or on your coffee table, and you could refer back to them every season.
It's not the kind of thing you look at and put in the trash a week later. Yeah.
And we really try to create recipes that are very adaptable for the season. So, you know, if we do a cake recipe or something that's made with rhubarb, when rhubarb is out of season, you can substitute it with peaches or strawberries or blueberries. So very versatile ingredients that are hopefully meant to stand the test of time in your kitchen.
I'm sure. How do I get this magazine? Because I've never seen it in any of my bookstores around me.
So we are available all over the world in various locations, but nationwide through Barnes & Noble, Whole Foods, and a growing list of small independent retailers. So bookshops, general stores, home shops, that sort of thing.
Okay. Or online.
Or online. Everything.
And what's your address?
thecoastaltable.com.
Okay, and that would give me a subscription and there's fun things to look at, right?
Yeah, and you can also buy individual issues as well.
Okay, good. You'd recommend buying the quarterly, right? Buying for the year?
If you did, yeah, it's a better value for you because you get free shipping, so you save on the individual shipping costs if you were to buy it one issue at a time.
Good. And this is your second season or third?
So we are just about to complete our second full year, so we're just about to print our 8th issue.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good. One last question. Holidays. Could be Thanksgiving, it could be New Year's Eve, could be Christmas. What do you do for a holiday?
It depends on the holiday. Each holiday has different traditions for me and different things that I look forward to. Thanksgiving tends to be a little quieter, and for me, my whole life has always revolved around watching football and cooking in the kitchen, so that's really what I love to do. Christmas is a little bit more bustling with lots of family around, so it just depends.
Oh, cool. Karen, thank you very much. I wish you continued success with the Coastal Table, both your cookbook and your quarterly.
Thank you.
And I look forward to hearing more from you, and I will share with Cape Cod Arts audiences more things happening with Karen Covey. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Don. It's a pleasure.
Cape Cod Arts and Beyond with John Murrell is brought to you by the Voice Studio of John Murrell. conveniently located for over 10 years on Route 6A in East Sandwich, offering vocal instruction for young teens through adults. The studio provides lessons to singers who are seriously interested in all aspects of singing, from vocal technique to ear training, sight singing, music history, audition preparation, and language study. The students of the studio frequently present recitals and concerts, both classical and popular. In the past, we have performed at First Night Sandwich, First Night Chatham, at the Forestdale and Oak Ridge Schools in Sandwich, the Barnstable Senior Center, the Osterville and Sandwich Library, and many local nursing homes. For university and conservatory interested singers, Mr. Murrell's students are regularly accepted and often receive generous merit scholarships into high-level music schools. For more information on the voice studio of John Murrell, please visit www.jmurrell.com, check out my YouTube page, or call me direct, 774-313-9012, to discuss if the voice studio of John Murrell is right for you. Hey, today we're in West Barnstable at West Barnstable Tables on Route 149. I want to tell you about this place. Since 1970, Dick Kiusalas and his band of talented craftsmen have been creating handmade, heirloom quality furniture. Using antique woods such as northern red pine, American chestnut, and oak, they create classic pieces with immense character as a hallmark of their craft. New hardwoods are also available, such as cherry, black walnut, box elder, butternut, tiger maple, bird's eye maple. Many of these are also featured with live edge styles, giving their work a rustic, almost timeless feel. As these styles have become more mainstream, West Barnstable Tables is now offering barn doors made with antique wood with reclaimed hardware, as well as using the same wood to make countertops and mantels to fit the latest design trends. You are invited to visit this 1920s cranberry processing barn at 2454 Meeting House Way. That's Route 149, exit 5 in West Barnstable, to view these unique pieces up close. We have owner Dick Kiusalas of West Barnstable Tables. Welcome, Dick. Thank you for letting us come into your home.
Thanks for coming.
Now, the whole idea of West Barnstable Tables is that you use old wood. Now, where did you get the idea back in 1970 to use old or reuse old wood to create these beautiful tables?
Well, that goes, it's my wife's father, my father-in-law, had taken down a barn in back of his house in Southbridge, and it was made of chestnut. And chestnut wood is now considered pretty rare to get, but I didn't know it then, but he divvied it up among the children, and I got Barbara's share, and I made a table out of it.
Cool.
And I got quite excited about old wood and the color you get from old wood. The natural patina that it has. And
why do you think it has a natural color, like a different color?
Well, things affect the wood over time and usually turn it a little darker than it was. And whether it's in a barn where there are animals, well, the ammonia from urine of the animals will stain the wood, as Stickley did for years. He stained his oak with ammonia.
Okay.
That's what turned it dark.
So the old wood has properties from the world.
Yes, oxygen darkens wood over time. So an old piece of pine from a house in 1700s is very dark in color, unless it had paint on it its whole life. So then it's not. The oxygen didn't get to it. So
I call your work functional art. Do you like that term, or would you call it something else?
Functional art's fine. It's very hard for furniture to get into the art world because it is useful. It's sculpture in a way, but not, quote, fine art.
Okay. Is it folk art? Do you consider it folk art?
Folk art's a very good term. I like that.
Okay.
I tend to work in my medium with old wood to kind of approach the wood and approach the project that I'm working on in a sort of untutored, uneducated look at it. Try to approach it as if I was just a farmer with nothing to do on this particular day in a cold winter night.
Yeah.
And I would make something for the house or for the wife or, you know, something like that.
Okay. So you're relatively successful. Is it true that Barnstable Tables, West Barnstable Tables, are all over the world now?
Yes, we have them on all the continents.
You do?
Well, wait a minute. No, I don't have any in Australia yet.
You don't?
No.
Okay. So anybody watching that's from Australia, check it out. We'll give you a little deal on the tables. Now, I've been known, I live relatively near here. I put this on my tour of when I'm giving house guests a view of Cape Cod. I like to bring them here and their jaw drops. Generally, I don't think they're interested in buying anything, but I consider this a museum. Now, can I recommend this as something for people to come visit?
Oh, yes. There's many people on the Cape that are residents of the Cape, and when they have visitors or guests that arrive, they bring them here. It's part of their tour.
Oh, okay.
They
So this
give.
is not unique.
So, no, not
And you
at
like
all.
that, yes?
Oh, I don't mind it a bit.
Ah, nice.
No.
So I am in the mood for buying a new table, and I've walked through your whole workshop here, your whole showroom, and there's absolutely nothing I want. Can you help me out? In terms of maybe designing one for my specific?
Yes, we do that.
You do?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We'll help you.
You'll help me design
Yeah.
something, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's very good.
All right.
We have to sit down and talk and find out what your likes and dislikes are, what kind of wood you want to look at, and we go from there.
Right. My last question is, you know, West Barnstable is a pretty old community, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably where you started getting all your old wood. Do you get all your old wood here, or where do you get it from?
Well, I get it mainly now from a fellow that takes down old buildings for a living.
Okay.
He buys and sells antique lumber.
Oh.
But early on, back when we started, I used to take down buildings myself, but that was in my younger days.
I see, I see. So when you are driving maybe on 495 and you see an old building, do you think about the wood? Is that one of the things you do?
If it's falling down, I do.
Right, yeah, okay. So what is the most rare wood that I could find now?
Rare antique woods?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, as far as buildings are concerned, New England's pretty much is built with pine.
Pine.
But there are other woods that they used, but we don't use them, such as hemlock. It's a very splintery wood.
Mm-hmm.
I have built hemlock tables, but some of the early buildings that were built where there's oak stands, the houses will be built with oak.
Oh.
And as far as Connecticut goes, lots of chestnut, and into Rhode Island.
Oh,
So
excellent.
those are the three main woods we work with,
Nice.
or I work with.
And a table like this, which is, I think, absolutely stunning to look at as well as feel. You should feel this patina. It's beautiful. How long would it take you to create something like this?
Well, this was created downstairs
Okay.
from Rick Moran's shop.
Yep.
And this is spalted maple. It probably took him 3 weeks from beginning to end.
Wow. Wow. They're sturdy too, aren't they?
Yes.
Hey, do you have something like this in your home?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's beautiful. No,
But-
right.
But I have antique woods in my home. This is
Exactly.
not antique wood.
Okay. Okay. This is
This
new.
is new wood.
Okay. Boy, it looks old though, right?
Well, it is. The
got a rustic feeling.
log has started to die, and that's what causes the spalt images.
Okay.
Plus, it was a tiger maple.
Okay.
So you get two images here. You get the spalted images plus the tiger maple images.
Nice. Nice.
It's becomes very busy, and of course, looks pretty nice.
It does. Good.
It competes with marble.
It sort of does, yes, yes. So, Dick Kiusalas, I want to thank you for letting us come into your showroom here on Route 149 in West Barnstable Tables.
That's right.
And if I don't talk to you, have a great holiday.
Well, thank you very much. You too.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.